Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Buckeye Bro Show. This is a show where we talk about Buckeye football, Buckeye basketball, and other Buckeye things, and other sports as we see fit. I am your host, Keen Buckeye, aka Alex Bryan, or flip-flop that, whatever, however I want to say it, And as always, I have my partner in crime, my Buckeye bro, Hot Wheels, Travis Snapper. What's up, Travis?
What's up, everybody? Yeah! Who's ready to be a Buckeye Bro today?
Oh, everybody. Of
Everybody
course.
ready to be a Buckeye Bro today?
Of course. Dude, we got a lot to talk about today. A lot's happened.
No kidding.
Like, good lord. Well, first and foremost, we're going to start out tonight's show with some 2021 depth chart predictions and talk about the guys who returned and left Ohio State in the last week, which is a lot of people. We'll also, since we didn't get to last week, we'll give you our college football playoff picks right quick. We'll briefly skim on that. Obviously, Keen's Ransom per usual. Got a couple games lined up for you this week. We'll dive into some Buckeye basketball a little bit. There's some games since the last time we talked about them that we'll just kind of briefly sum up and give you our thoughts on the direction of the team. Hot Wheels hot takes per usual. And then Urban to the Jaguars. What?
What?
What? We'll give you our overview of that and just dive into some other things regarding that as well. And then we got a new segment for you tonight that I'm pretty excited to do on a weekly basis. We like to call it Wolverine Whiffs. And we'll get into what that is a little bit later when we do the segment. But I'm really excited for that one. And I know you are too, Travis. This is going to be great.
Absolutely. I'm curious to see how this plays out.
It's going to be the best thing you've ever seen in your whole life. I can't wait. It's going to be the greatest thing. I might not be in office, but I'm still here, baby. All right. So,
Beautiful.
right. 2021 Buckeye football. College.
Gosh.
Like, depth chart. Let's just go over who's returned and who's departed, right?
Yes.
So, the big one, obviously, CO2.
Mm-hmm.
Did not foresee that coming. I kept reading. He was one of the ones that was going to go. And a lot of people felt the same way. But he surprised everybody and said, hey, I'm coming back. So, right there, huge bring back. And obviously for whatever new quarterback there is, and spoiler alert, Justin Fields is going to the NFL. He's already signed deals with places and all that good stuff, so he's already gone. So obviously we will be having a new quarterback, but having a veteran talent like that back, that's huge. I can't even express how monumentally huge that is. Then also we got back Haskell Garrett, Tyreek Smith. Oh, let's see who else.
Paris Johnson.
Oh, he had to come back. I don't.
Oh my
I
gosh,
think,
there were so many of them. My brain is just.
Oh,
shut
Jeremy
down.
Ruckert. That's huge.
Yes,
that's
that was
huge.
That's a big one.
Thayer Munford on the offensive line, also very huge. That way, we're really only replacing Myers and Davis, who both decided to go to the NFL draft.
Right.
Sean Wade also gone, which we expected.
Tyreek Smith
And
is back.
Trey Sermon.
Trey Sermon's gone. I know.
Tommy Togiai. He was one that was predicted to stay. Did not. He decided to go.
I can't blame him.
And back to Justin Fields real quick. People might not know this, but he literally had a graphic made up for staying or going. He was literally like right there.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
Like, he literally told the graphics department, make me one of each, because I really don't know what I'm doing. And then, like, in the final hour, just said, yeah, we'll use this one.
At the final countdown.
But I will say this is like the perfect time for a new QB to come in, have the comfort of those weapons there,
Yep.
and get for the next season too to get that experience. So Justin Fields leaving sucks, but there is a positive to it, because if he had stayed another year and then we lose Olave and Wilson, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, now you're working with practically new guys out there. You never know how that's going to go. Getting a new QB with those guys is going to be great.
Right.
And as far as that goes, I think that is about it. As far as I know, like Seven Banks and them stayed, but those were pretty obvious ones.
Yeah.
So what were your initial thoughts of Chris Olave returning?
Oh, my mind was blown. Absolutely just. I think I was working at the time that he announced it, so I tried to, contain my energy to not randomly scream my head off, more than usual at a grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
But everything that you've seen out of Buckeye fans, my sentiment has been the same. It is the coolest thing to have him back. It's huge. It's monumental, like you said. It's a veteran leadership in that wide receiver core that is going to be crucial. I think you can say the same for Jamie Rutgert. Having those two crucial weapons that were, crucial, even though in loss, they were crucial in that championship game against Alabama.
Absolutely.
To have them back and have them be weapons for whatever quarterback takes the helm, that is huge.
Right.
Because it takes a lot of pressure off the shoulders of the quarterback, because they've been in this system before. They know how this system works. They can tell you where they are going to go. And especially for C.J. Stroud and Jack Miller, they've seen these guys. They've seen them on the field. They know what these guys can do.
Right.
So they're used to that. So it's a level of comfortability that these guys are going to have, whoever gets that shot. And I think it's probably going to come down to those two guys, but whichever one it is, that is huge for both of them.
Oh, yeah, it's very huge. And as a Packers fan, I was kind of like in a middle there, because I kept seeing mock drafts with Olave going to the Packers, and I was like, ooh. And then with all the wide receivers we have coming in, I'm thinking, okay, all right.
Okay.
Olave, I love you. I would love to see you in scarlet and gray again, but if you go, green and gold looks pretty good too. But, and that's the only thing I worry about now is losing wide receiver recruits. I think guys like Jaden Ballard from Massillon, I think we will find very quickly that he ends up going somewhere after this year, because I don't think he's going to get much playing time with everybody coming in. Unless they use him as like a Devin Smith deep threat on certain plays. But, I mean, you got Olave, you got Wilson, you got Smith-Njigba, you got Fleming, you got G. Scott Jr., you got Egbuka coming in, you got Marvin Harrison Jr. coming in. I mean, good freaking Lord. I mean, like, I will be surprised if all of them stay into the next season after this one this year, because that's a lot of wide receiver to throw to. But let's go through this depth chart real quick here. As far as quarterbacks go, who are you thinking? Because obviously Kyle McCord's coming in. We got Miller and Stroud, both who got playing time, both who scored a touchdown last year. What are your thoughts on that?
So I know that the big talk of the town is probably going to be C.J. Stroud. Yeah. I would say that's probably, if you're a betting man, that's an easy bet to go with. I'm actually going to take Jack Miller, though, because of the fact that he did get some playing time.
Right.
So he's got some familiarity already with this coaching staff and with this offense.
Right.
I think that's going to be crucial and beneficial for him. Now, it helps to have immensely incredible talent, which C.J. Stroud also has. So it's going to be hard to beat him for the starting job. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I just got a good feeling about Jack Miller, or Zach. What is it, Zach or Jack?
One of the two.
It's one of the two. My brain doesn't want to work today.
Now we can't forget, because C.J. Stroud had that long touchdown run against Michigan State. He He was very like he showed some stuff, and for me it would be Stroud, simply
Yeah.
because that's the quarterback we usually use. But I'm also torn because I look at Alabama, who has this prototypical pro quarterback who is a pocket passer, barely mobile, and they get the job done, right? They're like game managers. Ohio State, if you think about it, they've been the same way. Craig Krenzel, Cardell Jones. Not real mobile guys. They're primarily sitting back in the pocket and launching balls. I mean, should we go back to that type of quarterback and see if we can win championships with those? Is that why we're bringing in Jack Millers, Kyle McCords, guys who are just normally back in that pocket, and if they have to be, they get mobile?
I think we definitely need to look into it. Because the bread and butter of this team is usually the running back. So we don't necessarily need a quarterback that can do it all. Now, it helps to open up the run game because you element. The one critique I've always had of the running quarterback is like you've seen with Lamar Jackson in the NFL. Running quarterback runs the ball a little bit too much.
Right.
I do not want to see, and I admit it, I was one of the guys that crapped on JT Barrett a little bit. I don't want to see the quarterback carry the ball 15, 20 times.
Oh, for sure.
Unless it absolutely calls for it. Like in the championship game, we even said it. It probably would have called for it because at that point you had a running game that you either weren't using or could have used a boost.
Right.
And they didn't use Fields. So I don't always have a problem with them running the quarterback, but I don't think it's something that you should be relying on either.
Right.
So I wouldn't mind seeing them trying to go back to a prototypical quarterback. It seems to work for us. And it's not like we don't have a team that can fit perfectly around that.
Right.
Because we absolutely do. The running talent for this team is going to be possibly phenomenal next year if it's anything like what it was this year. We know we don't have Trey Sermon, but we saw what Maya Williams can do. Kid looks like he can run.
Right.
Have no problem with that. The defense should improve. So we should have a good team around whoever the quarterback is. If they want to go back to the prototypical quarterback, then it should work out.
Yeah, I agree. I think the biggest thing to learn from this, if you're Ryan Day, is whoever you start, if it isn't working, don't be afraid to get him out of there and put somebody else in, because you don't want to make the mistakes that have been made in the past, like with Luke Fickell leaving Bowserman in too long during that 2011 season. Braxton Miller should have been starting from the get-go, let's be real. And Kenny Guyton should have been his backup. Joe Bowserman should have been demoted to bottom of the totem pole after what he showed, especially with blowing the lead to Nebraska, a 28 point lead all by himself in like a quarter and a half. Can't make those mistakes. But
the only thing I'll say to that is don't pull like what Urban did the year in 2015. We can't have that happen again either, where one quarterback starting and then he's not doing too well, so we start JT, and then JT's not doing too well, so let's start Cardale again.
Right.
Oh, Cardale's not doing too well again, right, even though he kind of is. And then even though JT's doing well, let's start Cardale. Like, no. Pick one or the other. If you're 3 games in, you better damn well have an idea who your quarterback is.
Basically, this is a loaded enough offense where none of these quarterbacks should have any success issues. So if they do, sound the freaking alarm and make a change. Because, I mean, loaded like a baked potato is an understatement. It just is.
Right.
Now, as far as running backs go, obviously Master Teague is back. But Travion Henderson comes in. And then you have Crowley, you have Chambers, you have Mayan Williams, who has shown some stuff. Who's running back one?
I think it's going to be Williams. I really do. I can understand the talent with Henderson, but again, I think experience has to play the factor here. This is college football. Experience means a lot. And so for Mayan Williams to have that experience, I think you have to go with him. Um, Part of me wants to say Teague just to give him, the benefit of the doubt. But
Right.
at the end of the day, we've seen Teague. No disrespect to the guy, but he's a short yardage back at best. He'll be great in the NFL when he gets there for that situation, but when it comes to being in the bell cow, he's not the bell cow. I think Mayan Williams definitely is going to be the guy that takes that spot just because he did. And, it wasn't a lot of experience, but it was enough experience that he got to where I feel like he showed he can be a good workhorse for this team.
Yeah, I have Teague right now simply because of the experience. Um, I do. I've always said he's more of a Beanie Wells type of back, which is fine. That's great. Um, he's like a fullback in the running back position where if you need 3 or 4 yards, he's probably good for it. And that's a big
Yeah.
reason why we lost to Bama, is because they were trying to use him like they would Trey Sermon, and it's just two different types of backs. If Mayan Williams had been with the team, I pretty much can guarantee you probably would have seen him more. I really was surprised we didn't get Crowley in more during that game. Um, but obviously Teague, he'll get his. I think he'll be running back one, but I think along with Mayan Williams, if he chooses to stay, he could transfer. Who knows? I think Travion Henderson's gonna get the ball. This kid's special. I think he has like Claret if he didn't screw up type vibes, Dobbins type vibes. I like what I've seen from this kid. I think, and he's just got like a lot of heart and commitment for the Buckeyes, and he hasn't even strapped up, you know, or put on the jersey yet. I
Right.
really like what I see from this kid, and I expect him to be huge for Ohio State in the run game. And I'd love to see him get some playing time, even though the
Well,
running back room's kind of loaded. But
looks like you have an agreement in the comments. Andy Evans says Teague starts next year.
yeah,
So
probably
Mr.
so.
Evans agrees with you.
Great minds think alike,
Yeah.
Wide receivers, this one's pretty obvious. Obviously,
Yeah.
wide receiver one is Olave. Wide receiver two in the slot is Wilson. Um, Obviously, you'll probably see some Smith and Jigba, like maybe as a backup
Probably.
to Wilson. He'll get playing time. Fleming, he'll get playing time. I would.
You think Fleming could jump him?
It's possible. I literally on one of these Buckeye Instagram pages, they kept saying, "Have your hot takes every week," and every week I kept putting Julian Fleming gets his first touchdown, and it kept not happening. And I'm just waiting because I know this kid's going to be good. Um, it just really depends. I think he's not a slot. You can use him in the slot, but he's not really a slot guy. I like him more on the outside, but obviously Olave occupies one of those. You could see Fleming and Olave line up on opposite sides of the field. You could see it.
That'd be fun.
But also, I would love to see more G. Scott Jr. I think he's got a lot of potential to be a playmaker, but there's just so many wide receivers, and there's only so many
Right.
spots on the field. You could probably see a lot of 5 wide situations more often than we usually would, which I would be okay with. And we can't forget about Jameson Williams either. That guy he's the fastest guy on the team. He came in. He's made a lot of good plays last season. I like what I've seen out of him. And then, of course, Emeka Egbuka. He's coming in. Mark my words, and this is on the Buckeye Bro Show on January 21st. Emeka Egbuka, by the time he leaves Ohio State, will be the best receiver we've ever had. That's
right.
my hot take. Because
All right. All right.
this kid is insane. I like Garrett Wilson. He's like up here with me. Egbuka's like right here. I love what I see from this kid. Huge get in recruiting this year. He's got to see the field right away. We'd be dumb not to play him. And then of course you got to get Marvin Harrison Jr. in there as well. He could be like his daddy. So we got to see what he's got too. Hopefully he doesn't transfer after a year. So
So, in other words, everyone's going to have fresh legs.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be rotating wide receivers, hopefully, like we would defensive linemen. A lot.
That's a good idea. I like that plan.
And you could honestly...
It's a good plan.
Right, you could honestly see like 5 wide receivers. If we're passing well, you could probably see them all with at least 600 yards plus, which would be insane. But
yep,
we just have that much talent. And I mean, tight ends wise too. Ruckert's obviously the main guy. And that's going to be huge because we've seen what he can do. And then I think Cade Stover's going to be tight end too, since Luke Farrell's gone. At least I'm pretty sure he's gone. He's a senior. I guess he could have came back, but as far as I've seen, I think he's gone. So tight end. But I mean, Christ, we got so many freaking wide receivers. We'll only use tight ends if we really have to. And I mean, it's proven to work more than it ever has at Ohio State. So I hope we use them more. But you gotta appease everybody. There's only so much football to go around, so I just hope we keep everybody. I hope so too. As far as offensive linemen go, Thayer Munford, obviously. Harry Miller, I think, gets moved to center. What do you think about that?
That seems to be the idea.
Right. That seems to be the most logical option there. As long as he snaps better than he was against Michigan State, because good sweet Lord. Travis.
I don't know. Justin seemed to play better when he did that. So maybe we needed him.
I was pulling my freaking hair out. And I barely have hair. Okay? I'm like, what's going on? This guy can't hike the ball right. So hopefully he gets that fixed because that was terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty.
Right.
It wasn't pretty.
Obviously NPF Nicholas Petit Free. I believe he's coming back, so he'll obviously start. And as you alluded to earlier, Paris Johnson Jr. Gotta get him in on the line somewhere. He'll probably play out of the normal position for him, but he's got to get in there. Dude is a freak. A freak. He has a chance to be one of the best linemen we've ever had. Maybe not Orlando Pace-esque, but like pretty damn close.
All right.
And then at right guard, that one's hard. I've seen like Matthew Jones. You could probably try to plug in DeJuan Jones in there, that big dude. I love that guy. Mm-hmm. I think we need to try to figure out a way to not have him transfer because that kid's a brutal beast. He's huge. He could be like an Orlando Pace size dude. Maybe not as great, but
got the size.
Right. I definitely
it's the start.
Definitely want to see more of him. But okay, defensively. Obviously, defensive end wise, Tyreek Smith. I think we both agree on that one. Zach Harrison will also be a defensive end. But I do. What are your thoughts on Jack Sawyer potentially cracking that and getting a lot of playing time?
I think they would be kind of stupid not to, with all the hype that he's gotten coming out.
Right.
And you know, if the hype is real and he is exactly what they say he is, give him the shot. I mean, and you know, you would be kind of dumb anyway not to give it a shot because at this point, you don't really have anybody that's broken out. So it's not like he's going to be taking anybody's true spot.
Right.
We saw a couple of good moments from Haskell Garrett and stuff like that, but nobody really broke through as that Joey Bosa, you know,
Chase Young,
Nick Bosa kind of guy.
Yep.
I mean, Jonathan Cooper had some really big moments later in the end of the season, but nobody was really that in the backfield kind of guy that just every single time was right there.
Right.
Haskell Garrett and Jonathan Cooper were close, but that was about it.
Right.
So I think you need to see what he's made of. You need to see what he can do because at this point, the line isn't bad, but it does need some kind of help.
Oh yeah,
I think it would definitely prove better for them to see what they got.
It wasn't as dominant as the defensive line as we've seen, and I think a lot of that had to do with just the overall inexperience and not having that one key edge rusher who just got in there and disrupted a lot of things and made life easier for everybody else. I think Zach Harrison, this is his year to break out. I saw a lot of it a couple seasons ago, and I'm like, this kid's good. And then last year, I don't know what it was, but it just seemed like he was never on the field, and he might have been, but I don't know if he was because you just barely heard his name.
Yeah, and it should never be an excuse, but we also have to keep reminding ourselves they played in the middle of a freaking pandemic.
Right.
Yep. Nobody, from what I saw, drastically improved, no matter what the team was.
Right.
There were a couple players that maybe got a little bit improved, but prior to that was probably because they played more.
Yeah.
Nobody really improved this year, and that goes all the way to the NFL some degree too.
Oh yeah.
No one really improved because we had no real time to improve. Give them a full offseason, I think you'll see some big changes, and especially with the defensive coaching staff now getting a full season to actually work with these guys, especially Kerry Coombs, who everyone still wants to be mad at. Kerry Coombs will get a full season to work with his guys. I think you're going to see some improvement.
Right, same. And obviously you got guys like Tyler Friday who have experience on defensive end, and Javonte Jean-Baptiste as well. So there's going to be rotations. There's going to be rotations there. And I really hope Jack and Zach attack, coining that phrase right now, okay? I really hope both of them get to have breakout seasons, because I think Jack Sawyer, I think he's going to be the next defensive rookie of the year in the NFL. I mean, that kid, Mick Marotti, thank God he's staying, which, by the way, him and Mark Pantonio both staying, both huge stays for Ohio State. Can't express that enough. Mick Marotti is going to break out his perfect chisel, and he's just going to freaking craft Jack Sawyer into a beast. Yeah, and I can't wait to see what this kid can do, because
I mean, and it's funny too, because we've covered a lot of Pickerington's games, so I've actually got to watch the kid on film.
Score on Air did an interview with him, if you guys want to check that out.
Absolutely,
it's a great interview.
So we've seen what he can do.
Right.
I know the kid's got talent.
Oh yeah,
and so I have no doubt in my mind he's going to be a big factor in this defense.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Pickerington Central is a school near Columbus who has won some state titles recently. They got close this last season. I think, didn't they make it to the title game?
They made it to the championship game. They lost to Chardon?
But they won the year before, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
so
I believe so.
This is a program known for football down there, and Jack Sawyer is born and bred from that. And trust and believe, when you get Mick Marotti and Larry Johnson to mold you, it's going to happen. Larry Johnson hasn't produced like the 3 of the last 5 NFL defensive rookies of the year or anything. The other one for Ohio State being Marshawn Lattimore, but we won't get into all that.
Andy says he already coined it, by the way. I think he means the Zach and Jack attack.
Nope. There's no audio proof.
True.
There's audio proof here, though.
He's not on the show right now.
Obviously, nose tackle Antoine Jackson comes back. That's another returning player. He's got it. His backup will probably be Jerron Cage, who we saw a little bit of. I like what I see from him. I think that's going to be a nice rotation between those two. And then, of course, Haskell Garrett at defensive tackle. His backup will probably be Teron Vincent, who we've also seen. So we have depth, and that was the thing last year too. We didn't know if we really had depth at that position, and we got some guys some valuable playing time. So I expect the defensive line to return to glory.
Right.
Linebackers wise, this is the key one here, because Pete Warner just announced today he's gone. Tuff Borland's obviously gone. He accepted a Senior Bowl invite, and Baron Browning, another one we didn't mention earlier, he's gone. Whole linebacker crew is new. I look at guys like Dallas Gant, I think he's had a little bit of playing time. I think he could get a starting spot, but I also think Cody Simon could get a spot. He's from the 2020 class. I liked what I seen from his film. So we'll see. One of those two will be the Mike linebacker for sure. And it won't surprise me if we rotate them often because they're both really skilled players. Thank God we're getting some speed back at the linebacker position. Praise Jesus, hallelujah. Don't even let me get started on a freaking tangent about the linebackers. Good Lord. Thank you.
Right. Yep.
As far as, like, the Sam linebacker position, I've seen, like, Craig Young. I've seen Court Williams. Either are fine. I want to see spring ball to really get a sense on who could go there.
Right.
But then obviously there's we have a third linebacker spot we usually fill. You can really like Taraji Mitchell. I think he's definitely going to be a starter. I've been looking forward to seeing what he could do for a while now. So I really look for him to step up as well. And that's the key concern position right there is linebacker. Secondly, being the cornerbacks and safeties. Obviously,
right.
We have experience there, but there's a lot left to be desired. Obviously, Seven Banks is probably going to be a starting cornerback, which I really, really, really feel they should move him to safety.
I was just about to ask you if they think that you think that they should.
I think I've said it before on the show, and
you have.
Yeah, when I've talked to former Buckeye Nate Oliver, and he said it perfectly. Seven Banks has the hip movement of a safety, not a cornerback, and I think he would thrive more in that role. But it just depends on what the coaches wanted to do, obviously. So if they feel like the experience there is just too great and maybe a whole season under his belt and getting some layup games in there against, lesser competition can, help mold him, fine. But I think there might be a point where you have to decide, do you want to move him to safety and move somebody else to cornerback and then go from there? And then obviously Cameron Brown. Cameron Brown was starting. He was the guy we lost to injury, like I believe in the Penn State game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
yeah,
I believe so.
He's definitely going to get some time. I think our secondary would have been loads better this year had he been in. I think he might have ended up actually starting over Seven Banks, but that's just my opinion. Backups, obviously, for that would be like Ryan Watts, Lejon Cavazos. I really want to see what Cavazos can do, to be honest with you. He's one I've been intrigued about since we recruited him, but he obviously we're gonna swap guys out in that as well. So, the slot cornerback, strong safety, whatever you want to call it, Lathan Ransom. That kid got to finally play last year, and boy, he is everything I prayed he would be. That kid is good. He is really good. Definitely a strong finish. He played a huge role in the Northwestern and Clemson games. Bama, I was too busy yelling at the TV to really see what he was doing, but I'm sure he was one of the only good ones in the backfield.
Right.
And then Marcus Williamson, he's coming back too. So I definitely think both of them will get probably split playing time, to be honest with you. I think both of them are plenty capable of filling that role.
What about Proctor?
Proctor is at the other safety position, the free safety.
Ah, that's right.
He will definitely be starter. Marcus Hooker, I believe he's back. I believe he has to be back. I'm not sure.
He is a sophomore, so I would say probably.
Yeah, he's back then. He's not his brother.
No.
He has some promise, though. And he's definitely going to get his playing time, but it depends. It really depends. But Josh Proctor is definitely going to be the main starter for that, for sure. And then kicker and punter. We got to replace them both. Punter, I'm not really sure. Kicker, obviously, I think Seibert.
Yeah.
I think he's done enough when he's been in to warrant that. And, punter, I mean, we tend to get great punters. so I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
Pick whoever. If he's Australian, that's even better. If he can flip a water bottle, even better too. Either or.
Well, it looks like on the depth chart there's a Zach Hoover, but it looks like he's a senior. I don't know if he...
Oh, so he's probably not going to start then.
Probably not. And then you have Michael O'Shaughnessy, who is a sophomore. So it's probably going to be him.
Right.
Unless they just try to give both duties to Seibert.
Yeah, we'll definitely revisit this more like after spring ball for sure. I definitely want to see like these guys in action. Hopefully we have a freaking spring game this year. Good Lord.
Please.
This freaking pandemic. Good Lord. Ruining everything.
College football gods,
right, please, God. Like, let us attend it, too. That'd be freaking sweet. All right, before we go to break.
Especially if we could do, like, a score on air from...
Right, that'd be sweet. Before we go to break, quick playoff predictions. Since we didn't get to it last week.
You first or me first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Obviously, I've kind of alluded to it before. But I'm going to change one pick.
Oh, gosh.
Alabama, the 1 seed. Clemson, the 2 seed. Oklahoma, 3 seed. Ohio State, 4 seed. I had Georgia. I something in me is just saying Ohio State's going to get, after the returns and departures here, Olave's huge. I think we can get the 4 spot at the very minimum. We could get a higher spot.
Who's your 3rd spot?
Oklahoma. I've seen people not have Clemson in their playoff prediction.
I have too, and I got to be honest with you. I kind of buy it.
I could buy it
just
a little bit. I could buy it a little bit.
Buy it just a little bit. I'm not sold. I'm not going to go off on a tangent and say that that's totally going to happen.
Right.
But I buy some stock in that. Mine are Alabama, probably going to be number 1. I say we actually end up at number 2. I'll go out on a limb and say that. Number 3 is probably going to be Clemson. So there's that funny time again.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, let's see. I guess I'll stick with... I'm going to go Texas. I say that Texas makes it out of the Big 12, beats Oklahoma, and Texas gets in it.
All right.
Just kidding. It's going to be LSU. No,
well, I mean, I got on you about that pick last week, but they are returning 20 of 22 starters. So I will give you that. I will be less harsh about it. But if you're LSU, this is it. Like, if you screw up with having that many return, you're done. Ed O is gone.
You don't get a majority of wins.
And I've seen rumors Elias Ricks, who we had been going after in recruiting, that's one of their cornerbacks who started. I've read that he might go in the transfer portal, and bet your ass Ohio State will go after him hard. And if we end up transferring him to us, he will be one of your starting cornerbacks. Book it. And that would be huge. Monumental if we got a player like him, because he was good last year in his freshman season. Good. And as far as Clemson goes,
Carolina.
As far as Clemson goes, the only reason I'm not buying they'll miss the playoffs is because they return like everybody on defense. And DJ Uiagalelei is actually a pretty decent quarterback, and they got Justin Ross back at wide receiver. So,
but who do they have at running back? I think
that I don't know.
Because it's not ETN.
But it also depends on who steps up in the ACC. Is North Carolina going to continue to rise? Is Florida State going to come out of nowhere again? Is the U actually going to be back for once in our lifetime again? I don't know.
Does Notre Dame decide they want to return to the ACC and
doubt it.
Mess up all that works?
Doubt it. But
I do too. But
I'm interested to see how it goes. But obviously, we'll revisit that too after spring ball, because then we'll get a little but of a glimpse of what all the teams are looking like, which will be pretty good too. All right, we're going to break. After we get back here, King's Ransom, of course. And then we'll talk a little bit of Ohio State basketball. How's that sound, Travis?
Sounds awesome. Till we start crying because it was awful.
Very true. All right. We'll be back on the Buckeye Bro Show.
This is the Buckeye Bro Show on Score On Air Network.
In sports, you want to have a player that can get the job done right every time. A real all-star, somebody that's dependable and you can turn to when the game is tough. That player in the audio-video industry is the theater people. From setting up your home's Wi-Fi network and offices, conference rooms, to setting up home theater inside or outside, to setting up the systems to make your home run smarter and safer as well. The theater people can do it all with the quality of professionalism you can expect every single time. That isn't just a great all-around player, that is an all-star. That is why we are the leaders in audiovisual installation in Central Ohio. So call us at 614-604-6327 or check out our website at ttpcolumbus.com to figure out which products will fit you. And don't forget, amplify your personality with the theater.
Have you always dreamed about a career in sports broadcasting but aren't sure where to begin? Well, if so, then look no further than the Sports Emphasis program at the Ohio Media School. Whether in front of the camera, on the microphone, or behind the scenes, you'll learn from a pro to be a pro in the Sports Emphasis program at the Ohio Media School. You'll get hands-on training and live in-the-field experience at some of Ohio's biggest sporting events. You'll be the star of your very own webcast, and you'll get the opportunity to interview some of Ohio's biggest athletes. Call us today at 614-655-5250 or visit our website at beonair.com.
Do you have design ideas for t-shirts but you're not sure where to go? Go to Mojo Sports Gear. That's right, Mojo Sports Gear. At Mojo Sports Gear, you can get custom-made shirts. Whatever design you need, Mojo Sports Gear can provide it. Don't forget to grab a custom-made cap on your way out and rock the best headgear in the game. Give them a call at 614-864-6656. That's 614-864-6656.
And welcome back to the Buckeye Bro Show. All right. We ready for some Keen's Ransom this week?
Of course. I'm so ready.
Let's run it.
And now it's time for the King's Ransom with your royal host, Sir King Buckeye.
All right. Keen's Ransom. Here we go. I only got 2 games on the docket this week here. Obviously, the 2 NFC title games. First, Packers and Bucks. The Packers are currently a 3.5-point favorite with the over-under at 51.5. This game scares me as a Packers fan because they beat us 38-10 in the regular season. But that was at Tampa Bay, and this is a much different Packers team right now. They're very, very hot. And I think in the first matchup between these 2 quarterbacks, Brady and Rodgers, in the playoffs ever, I would like to think Rodgers steps up. 3.5, ooh. I don't know. I'm thinking it's gonna be. You know what? I'll say take the Packers and take over those points. I think it'll be a touchdown game. Over under wise 51.5.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, last time it was 48 points, so I'll say under just because I think this is going to be a really hard-fought battle this time. I don't think it's going to be any type of blowout situation.
No.
And then Chiefs-Bills. Should be Browns-Bills, to be honest with you, but, you know, Chiefs-Bills, whatever.
Whatever. Boo.
The Chiefs are a 3-point favorite. The over-under is 53.5. This all depends on if Mahomes plays. Period.
Yep.
If Mahomes plays, take the Chiefs in the points. If he doesn't play, take the Bills in the points because without Mahomes, they ain't winning crap. And with Holmes, they obviously have way more of a shot. I think the Bills are a really good team though, but with Mahomes, it's Mahomes. I mean, so if he's anywhere close to 100%, they're gonna win that game. The over under 53.5. Well, if it's the same Buffalo I've been seeing the last few weeks that has struggled to score, that'll be an issue. But I will say take the over, just because I think the Chiefs' defense is Bills' defense is pretty good, but I think both are just going to be able to score enough on each other to get over those points. And that, my friend, has been King's Ransom. Very short one this week because I want to make sure we talk about all the stuff. Okay.
So he decrees.
So I decree. I gotta remember to keep saying that. That's so good. This is why you're my Buckeye bro. This is why
I'm here. This is why I'm here.
So we haven't talked about Buckeye basketball in a minute. Obviously for important reasons, because we had more football to attend to.
Yes.
I believe the last game we talked about was the December 26th game against Northwestern.
I do believe that is the case.
Since then, Buckeye basketball has went 4-2, which isn't bad. It isn't necessarily super great either. The two losses was to Minnesota by 17 on January 3rd and to Purdue just a couple nights ago by 2. The Buckeyes led in that Purdue game deep into the second half and just quite frankly blew it. But they also have 2 ranked wins in that time versus Rutgers, which was 80-68, and to Illinois, which was 87-81. And the Buckeyes were leading huge in that game too, if you recall. And they almost blew a lead in that one and blew that game. So what's your overview right now of this Buckeye basketball team?
My overview right now is that the same that I had before. They're good. They're not great. They have a chance to be spoilers. They have a chance. They have the team to be spoilers. They have a chance to be a really good team.
Right.
They just got to get there.
They do.
I said it when we previewed the Minnesota game. That was going to be the game where I decided what this team was going to be, whether they were going to be a really good team or whether they were just going to be an team. They're an team right now. Because right now, like you said, they've had leads and they just can't seem to either hold them or hold them by much. That is a little terrifying. But I think you all still have to give them a little bit of credit for the wins that they do have. The Illinois one was definitely huge.
Oh, yeah.
To beat Illinois. That was big.
And they were routing them.
Yeah. So I don't think we can crap on this team too much. And I don't think we should just sound the alarm on this team as of yet, even though they gave up a pretty bad one to Purdue the other night.
Yeah.
I think this team is on the track to be a middle-of-the-pack team in the Big Ten.
Agreed.
Possibly a Sweet 16 jump, maybe. I got to see a little bit more out of them before I feel like they're a really confident Sweet 16 team. But they're there. They're close. They just got to get everybody going and get everybody on the same page.
Right.
And we need to see guys continuously step up. EJ Liddell seems like he's the guy for this team. He needs to continue to keep on doing that. But at the same time, other guys got to keep stepping up. Seth Towns has to keep stepping up. Justice Suing has to keep stepping up. All these guys got to keep stepping up, especially on the defensive side. You got to get more rebounds. You got to attack the rim a little bit more, attack the paint a little bit more. You have to get a lot more on that rim and
preach it.
Get them balls.
Is this a sermon?
I'm trying my best. I'm trying.
Preach it, brother.
I'm channeling my inner Trey.
Your inner Trey.
My inner Trey.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Especially with their next 3 games being at Wisconsin this weekend versus Michigan State at home and then at Iowa. Yeah. These next 3 games could easily flip this entire season one way or the other for this team.
Yep.
Because if you lose 4 in a row, then all of a sudden you're really... But if you can even win 2 out of the next 3, that's huge. And there's a stretch at the end of the season that's going to be rough too. You got Team Up North at home in February 21st. Then that following Thursday on the 25th at Michigan State. Then that following Sunday on the 28th versus Iowa at home. So it's literally coming up Wisconsin, Michigan State, Iowa, and then Team Up North, Michigan State, Iowa. It's like two 3-game stretches that are crucial for this team. They got to stop relying on Dwayne Washington every freaking game. They just do. I mean, he's consistent, but there's been times where you're like, where is he at? This team also takes entirely too many threes, it seems. And like you alluded to, they need to attack the paint more. And just in general, outside of Washington and Liddell, they need to find another scorer, a consistent scorer. And you see a lot of these other teams where if some guy's lacking, other guys are stepping up and filling that void. And unfortunately, one of those teams is the team up north. They are, if they don't win the conference, I'm blown away. Because that team looks dangerous. And they are about a year ahead of where I thought they'd be under Juwan Howard. That was always an amazing hire. That was always better than John Beilein type of hire, in my opinion. The players relate to him because they see he's part of the Fab Five. They love this guy. And they play hard for him. And they play really, really good on both sides of the ball. They're blowing teams out left and right. They just got blown out by Minnesota, but hey, that was a trap game anyway for them. So, but I do agree. This is like a middle of the team, and I think we said that. Like the first time we talked about them, this is a middle of the Big Ten type of team. If they finish 7th or above, I think that's successful with what we thought we would go into in the season. Sweet 16, that would even be an improvement as well, because under Holtman, they've only ever made it to the second round and then got bounced. So that's what I wanted to see from last year's team, but we never got to see it because of the pandemic starting. So if they got to the Sweet 16, totally cool with that. Totally cool with that. But
Andy agrees. Way too many threes.
Right. This next 3-game stretch, that's crucial. If they lose all 3, who knows where they finish? They'll be unranked. There will be no morale. It'll just be like, what are we doing here? You know, I can see this team being around like I think they'll get to 20 wins. They'll be like a 20 and 11 or however many games they play, something in that ballpark. They'll definitely have double-digit losses, and I think they do get 20 wins, probably barely, but I could see them being like a 6 seed in the tourney, around there.
Yeah.
It just really depends, but and like I've said before, I still want to see Kyle Young really step up for this team. I really want to see him be a leader. He is a senior. I want to see him pop off. Like, impose your will, brother. Impose your will. Be that guy in the paint, because I mean, you don't have the size of some of the other guys, but I saw you in high school, bud. You got what it takes. So step up. And we need another consistent scorer, and if he can be a consistent scorer on the inside, perfect. Is there anybody else like Seth Towns? I think he's the guy that I feel also really needs to step up too. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to give him too much responsibility, given that he just came in here. You know, came off with the injury and everything like that, so you don't want to put too much pressure on the kid, but at the same time, yeah, he had a lot of talk coming into this team, a lot of hype. It's time to you to start paying back on that hype a little bit. So I definitely agree with that. I think he's got opportunities. He's got to cash in on them.
Right. Also, I want to see Justin Aarons. I want to see him not really become like a Diebler type player, but as close to that as he can. I think he can be lethal from 3. I think they need to find him more open looks for 3. I think he should be one of the only guys taking 3s. Unless you're really feeling it, because this team is shooting way too many freaking 3s. But I think he can be that type of a role where you get him on the the left or right wing, or even up top, and just have him pop 3s all night. Make him that guy. There's so many players on this team that have so much promise and talent. it's just hard to see them lose games like Purdue. Purdue swept us this year. Right?
Yeah.
Purdue's a scrappy team, don't get me wrong. I believe they shared the regular season Big Ten title last year, but I'm pretty sure they lost a lot of guys. And Matt Painter, he's just a great coach. He gets these guys ready. So it didn't surprise me that we lost at least one to these guys, but two, especially when we had a pretty nice lead in the second half. Can't have that. You got to finish games, especially in this league where we've had the most ranked teams every week and we're easily the deepest conference and best conference. Not that matters come March Madness because they always all choke. No. But, right. I mean, while you're in this conference play, you got to finish games. And you got to out physical everybody that you play. And you got to make smart basketball plays. And that's what lost them that Purdue game. They got sloppy and lazy. And it came back to bite them. It really did. And I hope more for this team. But my prediction was middle of the pack, and I'm pretty sure that's what's going to come into fruition on that, unfortunately. But as long as they make the Sweet 16, that's a step in the right direction for me. And then just continue to recruit, get those guys in. We got good recruiting classes coming in from what I've seen. So, I mean, the ceiling, we haven't reached the ceiling. We haven't even come close. And now we get to look at Juwan Howard in his second year at TTUN looking all freaking good. That should be us. That should be where we're able to get as well. And it should be just like football, battling each other up in basketball as well. So, all right. Outside of basketball here, let's get into this Dwayne Haskins thing that dropped today real quick.
All right.
So if you live under a rock and just don't pay attention to anything, Dwayne Haskins
last 9 hours or so.
Mr. Travis Snapper's day was completely made when Haskins took a little trip to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it was started out as meeting with the front office people and Tomlin and stuff, and turned into signing a contract for 1 year. To be with Pittsburgh.
It moved pretty quickly. It really did.
Did we not say on the Buckeye Bro Show that that's where we hoped he would land and felt he would land?
Absolutely. I've been saying that as long as I have been doing this show, right. As long as I have been doing the Perfect 10 Sports Show on Score on Air. As soon as he got released, I said the one place that he needed to come to was Pittsburgh.
Perfect.
Why?
Perfect situation.
Because it's a perfect situation. It's a perfect situation.
Agreed.
They are perfect for him from start to finish. Coaching, better. Sorry,
they are
better. I love Ron Rivera. Tomlin is better.
Tomlin has never had a losing season with the Steelers. It's always been 8-8 or better. Easily better coach.
Tomlin probably could have got 8-8 out of that team they had.
Yeah.
In Washington.
Agreed.
Running back situation, not great.
Not great right
could
now.
Be better.
Not great right now. I think I think Connor will get back to his old ways, and they'll probably get somebody in the draft. Maybe Trey Sermon.
Yeah. Maybe Najee Harris.
Maybe Najee Harris too. I mean, there's plenty of options there.
Not J.K. Dobbins, because I'm still a little bitter about that.
Yeah, you really screwed up there. You really did. I won't lie to you. You did.
Wide receiver core, definitely better. Definitely better. And that's not a knock against Terry McLaurin. It's a knock against everybody else.
If you're Dwayne Haskins, you will definitely miss Scary Terry. That's your boy.
Yeah.
But you get Juju.
I miss having 3 Buckeyes on one team.
Right.
That's the only thing I miss right now.
You miss Juju.
Is having 3 Buckeyes on one team. Especially some of my favorite ones, too.
Right.
Chase Young, Dwayne Haskins, Terry McLaurin. Oh, that was a dream team.
It was.
But, hey, I mean, Dwayne Haskins, Cam Hayward, he's not on the team anymore, but Ryan Shazier.
Oh, forever Steeler.
Yeah.
Forever
so, I still get a 3 there.
Will Allen used to be on the team.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Andy Evans says, bring back Le'Veon. No. Please, no. Please,
wasn't one of the Grants on the team too, like Doran Grant, or was it the what was the other guy's name?
So.
Oh crap! I can't remember. That's terrible. I'll have to look that
But
up.
he says to bring back Le'Veon. I don't like the idea of bringing back Le'Veon. I think that's too much drama.
I
don't even know if he really wants to come back.
I think that bridge is burnt.
But back to Dwayne Haskins, it's just an overall better fit for him because of the fact of Big Ben plays his situation, plays his style of football. That's perfect for him. Plus, he's learning from a 2-time Super Bowl winning champion.
Right.
He didn't have that in Washington. Yeah, he had Alex Smith, but Alex Smith was fighting for his job.
Right.
He had Case Keenum, who, I'm sorry, it's Case Keenum. That's not exactly somebody to really learn all that much from. He's a journeyman. I get it. He's got a lot to offer. And, I heard a lot of analysts say, he should be at his side constantly learning. You really want to learn from that guy how to be a professional in the National Football League?
Right.
I mean, you could learn some professionalism from him, but just about anything else, I don't know if I want to learn from Case Keenum.
Right. There's nothing to learn there, for sure.
No. So he's in an incredible situation. Like you said, they can draft somebody now that they don't have to go looking for a quarterback for at least a year. They can draft around him.
So Big Ben's not retiring then?
I don't think so.
I think he does have one more year. I think
he's got one more year.
Right. I think they talk him into one more year now that they've gotten Haskins and just be like, look, this is probably your last season. I think we both know this. Please teach everything you can to this young man because we want to see what happens. Now, obviously it's only a 1-year deal, so it's like, will he get extended? It'll just depend on his attitude and how he,
That's really what it's going to come down to me. I think the 1-year deal is to see what his attitude is like. Right. I don't think it has anything to do with his playing ability. Right. I guarantee you that 1-year deal is to see if he's still an immature prick.
Yeah. No other way to put it. He has been immature.
If he's still very much immature, that is why they're giving.
He's also shown times of maturity too, like when you see him picking up Alex Smith. You see him going over with the other guys to Joe Burrow. You see it there. He has that potential, but then he has other times where he's just like, come on, man.
And there was that moment towards the end of his first season where they got, I don't know if he was mic'd up or what, but he was trying to get the O-line to be like, come on, we're still in this. We got this game. And they just blew him off.
Yeah.
If you're a young quarterback, what are you supposed to do with that?
Right. And that was year one. They were all just like
year one.
And when your coaches say, we didn't really want him. We just drafted him.
I think this has been the best possible outcome for him.
Best thing that could have happened to him. It's literally the
Ryan
best
Hill
situation.
says the majority of the Steelers' locker room is immature, so he'll fit right in. If you need 2 wide receivers, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, you get Chase Claypool, you got Juju, you got Deontay Johnson. Hey.
Deontay Johnson immature?
No, Deontay Johnson's not immature. I'm just saying you got those 3 receivers. I wasn't talking about the immaturity part of it. Only 2 of them, those wide receivers, have said or done immature things. One more so than the other, but we won't get into that.
Yeah, Juju is
the biggest upside besides the offensive line and the weapons he'll have is Mike Tomlin. This is a guy he can better relate to that actually shows that he wants him, and that will give him all the more incentive to just work hard. All offseason, he was working hard. He was dropping weight. He was putting in the work, and it just the Redskins organization was just giving him nothing. And to be fair, he wasn't really earning it a lot of the time either. But this is such a perfect situation. Learn from a Hall of Famer, a 2-time Super Bowl champion, and for a year. And then if they like you, they keep you. And then guess what? It's your team. This is your Cadillac. Drive it. And I think if he can really learn the playbook, really put in that work to learn how to go through his reads and all that good stuff, he will thrive in Pittsburgh. But if he screws this up, he's done.
Here's the thing with the immaturity thing. I could understand that if this was Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown Part 2.
Right.
This time, you could say Juju's been a little immature. I get that. He has. Chase Claypool, too, as well. Although the second comment, I do believe he was trying to come to the defense of Juju, and I respect him a little bit for that.
Right.
Although the thing he said about the Browns is stupid. It's a rivalry thing, so I don't put too much stock into what they said because they haven't said anything else much immature beyond that. Antonio Brown was immature towards his own teammates. That's the difference. This team is a team-oriented team. That's the difference.
The organization is outstanding, too.
Once they got those two guys out of the organization, this became more of a team instead of just me, 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 me. Juju has not come out and said me, 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 me. Chase Claypool has not come out and said me, 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 me. It's been a team-oriented environment. That's why I feel that he will thrive in the situation. If Chase Claypool and Juju started to get into that prima donna wide receiver mentality of I need the ball and stuff like that, then I could understand the, connecting with the immaturity thing.
Right.
That's not what I'm worried about. It's, his own doing, his own demons that he has to deal with that I'd be worried about. But I don't think that the team is going to enhance that. I think they're only going to shrink that and help him out tremendously. Like you said, Tomlin being his coach, you can't ask for much better than that. The only other coach that's really out there that could handle that is Belichick, and no one wants to see that.
Yeah, and I don't think if the Patriots right now would have been a good fit. Maybe a couple of years ago, but not right now. Not right now.
No.
That's not near where it used to be. All right, we're going to go to break again after we come back. Hot Wheels Hot Takes real quick, and we'll also touch on Urban to the Jags and get into our new segment. So we'll be back on the Buckeye Bro Show.
This is the Buckeye Bro Show on Score on Air Network.
In sports, you want to have a player that can get the job done right every time. A real all-star, somebody that's dependable and you can turn to when the game is tough. That player in the audio-video industry is the theater people. From setting up your home's Wi-Fi network and offices, conference rooms, to setting up home theater inside or outside, to setting up the systems to make your home run smarter and safer as well. The theater people can do it all with the quality of professionalism you can expect every single time. That isn't just a great all-around player. That is an all-star. That is why we are the leaders in audiovisual installation in Central Ohio. So call us at 614-604-6327 or check out our website at ttpcolumbus.com to figure out which products will fit you. And don't forget, amplify your personality with the theater.
Have you always dreamed about a career in sports broadcasting but aren't sure where to begin? Well, if so, then look no further than the Sports Emphasis program at the Ohio Media School. Whether in front of the camera, on the microphone, or behind the scenes, you'll learn from a pro to be a pro in the Sports Emphasis program at the Ohio Media School. You'll get hands-on training and live in-the-field experience at some of Ohio's biggest sporting events. You'll be the star of your very own webcast, and you'll get the opportunity to interview some of Ohio's biggest athletes. Call us today at 614-655-5250 or visit our website at beonair.com.
Do you have design ideas for t-shirts but you're not sure where to go? Go to Mojo Sports Gear. That's right, Mojo Sports Gear. At Mojo Sports Gear, you can get custom-made shirts. Whatever design you need, Mojo Sports Gear can provide it. Don't forget to grab a custom-made cap on your way out and rock the best headgear in the game. Give them a call at 614-864-6656. That's 614-864-6656.
All right, and we are back on the Buckeye Bro Show. I'm still King Buckeye. He's still Hot Wheels.
Yes, I am.
Are you ready for Hot Wheels Hot Takes?
Of course I am.
Let's run it. All right, Travis, what you got?
All right, so I almost decided to come up with one for Dwayne Haskins, but I'll save that for another day. I was thinking about this at work with Phillip Rivers retiring, and I think this is a pretty good one. So, My Hot Wheels hot take of the day is this. Andrew Luck will come out of retirement and play once again for the Indianapolis Colts.
Whoa. Okay. Elaborate on that a little bit. I gotta hear this. You think he's ready?
I think he's ready.
Think he's gonna pull a Favre?
He needed a little time off. He needed a little bit of time to get the body right, get the mind right, get a little back into the swing of things. I think at some point somebody's going to make a good old call to Mr. Luck.
They are better off right now than they were when he left. They got a better running back situation, stuff like that. That would be interesting.
I think they would do good to maybe reach out to one Andrew Luck and see if Mr. AL is ready to come back.
I just don't know what his injury situation really is, like how severe. I know he had a lot of concussions and stuff, so that might. Yeah. But I mean, hey, that would be comeback of the year story type stuff. That would be great. I would love that. When Andrew Luck was healthy and playing, the NFL was better. So I'm all for that. I love that hot take. Love it. Sizzle. Ooh. Burning. Now, if they don't get Andrew Luck back, I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know either. I didn't think they were only gonna get 1 year out of Phillip Rivers, but hey, he's ready to have some more kids or something. Daggummit, so or whatever he says.
He's trying to beat the Duggars.
Shoot, daggummit. All right.
He's trying to get his own TV show.
Right. Urban to the Jags. Oh my God! So obviously,
still sounds weird when you say
right.
it.
Obviously, this was something that Buckeye Scoop had been putting out there like 3 to 4 weeks before it actually became official. There was a lot of talks for it for that long, and it just kept building steam, being more and more of a credible thing, and he signed on the dotted line. How is his health? Who knows? Is he ready for the challenge of the NFL? I think he's going to hate losing. I know Urban Meyer. He did an interview not too many years ago where he was asked about the NFL, and he literally was like 10-6 is considered a successful season, and basically said that would drive me nuts. Well, hey, bud, guess what? You might not even go 8-8 this year. Just depends. I mean, granted, he took this job because I believe they get 21 draft picks over the next couple drafts. You basically get to build your own team. This is Madden. This is Madden real life version. So that's basically the only reason why he took the job, and he gets the number 1 overall pick this year. So it was basically hey, if I ever want to do this, I should probably do this now. Unfortunately, it wasn't like the Cowboys job. That would have been really good for him. But it is what it is. He gets to build his own freaking team.
I hope he's hiring some kids to help him out with that. That have played Madden before, that know how Madden works.
Pass him a controller,
so they can explain it to him.
Pass him a controller, okay? And obviously he's hired Charlie Strong, which he's been familiar with. He's hired Anthony Schlegel as his strength and conditioning coach.
Attack and dominate, baby.
Right. Maybe somebody else will run onto the field and Anthony Schlegel will body slam them like he did at Ohio State. One could only hope, because that is one of the most glorifying things that ever happened in the Urban Meyer era outside of winning a national championship.
I was so happy when that happened.
I was like, he is still that man. It was great. I loved every part about it. And there's rumors, I don't know if it's happened yet, but his defensive coordinator might be Chris Ash, which is somebody that if Greg Madison were to retire, I would hope Ryan Day would call and be like, hey, man. Or maybe get Marcus Freeman away from Notre Dame before he steps foot there. But that's another topic for another day. He's still hiring more of his staff. He's got a lot of time, obviously, to do so. Your initial thoughts of this whole shebang?
I was excited. I'm really intrigued to see where this goes.
Right.
It's exciting to see these new hires, especially when it's a coach that you're familiar with and it's a coach that you've watched. Especially when it's a coach used to coach a team that you played for. You not played for, but you used to watch.
In our minds.
In our minds, yeah, we played for.
In our minds.
Yeah, in my head, I have dreams of just
Every night.
playing for Anthony Schlegel
Every
and
night.
just attacking and dominating.
Right.
He's got me all pumped up that I'm excited and ready to play. But I think it'll be great. I think it'll be exciting to watch, see what he can do, see how he translates. We've never seen this out of Urban Meyer. So you always see these college coaches, the ones that, stay with college for so long. And, sometimes when you're watching them, there's just that quick little inkling of, wonder how they would do in the NFL.
Right.
And it's interesting because, there's been conversation after conversation after conversation about this. The NFL is a different beast.
It is.
Entirely.
It is.
But college is too. Recruiting, the stress of it, and everything that has to go into that. Losing players seems like every 1 or 2 years or something like that. That doesn't happen as frequently in the NFL. You do lose players to free agency and stuff like that,
Yep.
but the revolving door of talent isn't as fast as it is in college.
Right.
So there's a little less stress when it comes to that. There's obviously still stress,
Oh, for sure.
especially with trying to win the season, win
Drafting.
the place, drafting your talent. But there's not as much overall stress in the off season. I think that's the big key here is while, you do want to focus on who you're going to draft and stuff like that, there's not the constant grind of recruiting. And so I think it'll be good for him. I think, he's not going into a bad situation. Like you said, they've got so many draft picks. Oh, my God, did they have draft picks?
A laundry.
So he's
list.
going into an intriguing situation. His quarterback is probably going to be Trevor Lawrence, so it's going to be exciting to see how that dynamic
I'm
works.
really interested to see who he picks there. I think it's Lawrence, but it'll be interesting.
Can we just get out of the way that's probably not Fields?
It probably isn't, but it would really hype me up if it was. It would really hype me up if it was. I would be like,
Can you imagine if
I'd
it
be
was
like,
Dwayne?
I'd be like, get dunked on, Clemson again. Get dunked on. every part about that would be glorious to me. I would never let them live that down. That Justin Fields got picked before him.
What if you would have picked up Dwayne?
I would have been okay with that too. I don't think he fits that offense down there, but hey,
He doesn't.
I
That would be
mean,
funny.
if you want to go that route, cool. Spend your number one
Especially
pick on
after
somebody
the
else.
comments you made about Dwayne Haskins.
Right. Exactly.
Saying that he probably should have stayed.
Right. Yeah, he probably should have, and he probably should have.
Probably should.
But hey, we
really should've.
benefited from it, so it is what it is. I definitely, I'm not mad about it. I know a lot of people, when the rumors of, oh, he's going to USC, oh, he's going to Texas, blah, 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 blah. I know when all of that happened, and even after he said no to the Texas job, he said, I'll probably never coach again. We all knew that was probably not true. A lot of people are like, Buckeye fans are going to be mad when that happens. I would have been mad if he went to another college place.
Right.
Like especially a Texas or USC, I would have been like, okay, I don't like it, but as long as
the crazy
as long as it
rumor of
doesn't
him going up north.
right, that one too, that would have really made me mad. Obviously, that would have been the most Benedict Arnold move in college football history, outside of like Bo Schembechler going up there. But there's only 32 NFL coaching jobs, head coaching jobs. This is something that for years, like Bama fans especially, would be like, well, Urban's never been in the NFL. Our guy has, so your guy isn't as good as Nick Saban. Or Wolverine fans would be like, oh, Jim Harbaugh's been in the NFL. He turned the 49ers around, blah, blah. Urban Meyer hasn't done that. He's too scared to. Well, guess what? Now we get to see how that unfolds. And I will be low-key rooting for the Jags. Not over the Packers, though, and I'm sure you with the Steelers the same. But I will be rooting for the Jags' success, because if he succeeds in the NFL, and he has shown he can succeed at both levels, hell, if he wins a Super Bowl with the Jags, which would be crazy, I'll be like, how can you not put him above Nick Saban then? Nick Saban's won 7 national championships. I get it, but he sucked in the NFL. If Urban Meyer can win at both levels, he will be one of a very few coaches that have won a national championship and a Super Bowl. You would almost have to put him above overall coaching. When you combine them both, you would almost have to put Urban Meyer above him if he did something like that. Or just had success in general. Like, he might not win a Super Bowl, but if he constantly has them at like a 10-plus win, gets them to the playoffs, like, that's great. That's way better than Nick Saban did. But, you know, if he does win a Super Bowl, I think that cements that. That cements that in stone. So
but we want him to get the Super Bowl so he can. I mean, he's already better than Harbaugh, but we want that just one.
He has
extra.
as many Super Bowl rings, and you know, as Harbaugh did. So he's already off to a great start. Right.
Right.
So we'll see what happens with it. I really loved his love for Ohio State and not wanting to poach the coaches, and his statement on.
I know that was a big topic of conversation.
His statement on that, like, you know, a lot of Florida fans kept telling us when we hired Urban Meyer, they said, good luck, he'll leave your program in ruins and stuff. And obviously I thought we'd get more than 7 years out of Urban Meyer. That didn't happen. Basically because of the whole Michael Drake not having his back thing and them throwing him completely under the bus for something that really didn't even happen. Let's face it. That whole thing was allegations, fabrications. Nothing was proven in court. It was a whole messy situation. And Urban Meyer, that adding that onto the stress of already being the head coach of The Ohio State University, it was just too much. And he walked away at a good time. Obviously, if he had stayed, he'd be 8-0 against the team up north. I mean, it would all continued the same. But I think where he was at in his career and who he left us with as a head coach, I think it worked out for both parties. And I love that he's taking this opportunity. I just hope he knows that the stresses could be even worse in a lot of areas, especially from a losing standpoint, because he could end up losing more games in year one at Jacksonville than he did in like his entire Ohio State career. You know, he could. He very well could. And he's got to be ready to deal with that, because he is not a guy who likes to lose, and he takes every loss very personally, and that is what I worry about. I give it personally like 4 years. I hope it goes longer, though. I hope he really finds success in Jacksonville, builds that thing, might have a rough couple first years. As long as he can get through that and they don't want to move on from him, I think he will build this team into something really special. And I'm very interested to see, and Buckeye Nation has his back. We will root for him every step of the way, because we definitely want to be able to shove that in Bama's faces that he had some success.
I got to read a comment really quick. Andy Evans says, I have a bet with a buddy that Herbs won't win more than 9 games in his first 2 years.
Combined?
Andy, you might want to try. Yeah, you might want to get your money back, Andy. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think if they get T-Law and draft really well and the other 10 draft picks they have this year, I think they can at least be 6-10 year one. I think that's
Here's
doable.
why. Yeah. Here's why I say that. You look at their season, even though they were 1-15, you count the amount of games that they were very close to winning.
Right.
They beat the Colts 27-20. I think we did this last time, but
Right.
33-30 against the Titans, barely lost.
Right.
The
division is wide open. It is.
Yeah, 27-25 against the Texans, 24-20 against the Packers. 27-25 against the Browns, 27-24 against the Vikings.
Right.
Like, the list goes on and on.
They've been there. And they were in the playoffs a couple years ago even. Like, they're just a team that took a downturn.
He says no each season.
Oh, each season. Well, okay, that's a little different. I think year one, if they go 8-8, that's a huge step in the right direction. Urban will literally die if he has 8 losses in a season. But he's got to realize it's not college. If it was college, he's probably not losing more than 2 games in a season unless he has like a year at Florida like he did in his last year.
Especially with 22 draft picks.
Right. This is a whole different ball game here. And there's areas college football is harder than the NFL, and there's areas the NFL's harder than college football. And when it comes to the losses aspect, you're probably going to get a lot more losses. So you just got to deal with it, learn from it, and grow. And he's going to find that out pretty quick because Nick Saban did too. But I'm excited. I really hope for his success. Buckeye Nation is behind you, Herbs. And go do your thing, dude. Just make sure you come back. And I actually got a comment back from Mrs. Meyer. I said, just make sure you come back to Columbus to visit because you're always a Buckeye. And she said, of course. And, you know, she has her family here still. So the Myers will be coming back to Columbus ever so often, guys. They're still Buckeyes for life. And I
mean, he's got
right.
to eventually. They got to play, you know, Cleveland and
right.
Cincy. I'm sure
Plus
they'll
he's
be
got
back.
his own restaurant here that they got to visit every once in a while. Too. So, I mean, you know, it's a must at this point.
He's a busy guy. He's a busy guy.
So I'm really excited for him. I love what he said about Ohio State not wanting to poach us and ruin our infrastructure. It just really shows how much more he values Ohio State than he did like Florida and stuff per se. It was just awesome here, and he really wants this thing to keep growing more from what he built with it, and I think that will happen, especially since, you know, he's still going to be in Ryan Day's ear from time to time, I'm sure. So it's going to be a great situation for everybody involved. All right, before we go, introducing our new segment that we're going to be doing every week called Wolverine Whiffs. To explain a little bit, Wolverine fans give us a lot of good material, a lot of laughable material, shake my head material. So Travis and I decided that this was a must. To end, like, we're going to end the show with this every week. I think it's perfect. And just to give like a good laugh at the team up north, because they deserve to be laughed at, and they give us so much good material, and it's too good to pass up. So here's this week's Wolverine Whiffs. Here we go. All right, so I'm covering up my face for this. So it is what it is, but there's only so much room on the screen here. But real Elon Musk on the MGO board says about Chris Olave's return. He says, what this tells you is that he's being paid well enough with paying no taxes that it makes financial sense for him to stay. Unfortunately for OSU, they couldn't pay Fields enough for him to stay. And then NJ Victor below him says, I got downvoted for making the same comment, but it's the only thing that logically makes sense. No logical person is going to turn down being drafted in the first or second round to go back to being an unpaid college athlete. I don't care how good the culture is. Oh my God. Literally, this is pretty much in the ballpark of everything I see from Wolverine fans. It is nuts. It's nuts. And just a bonus one that I don't have a graphic of. There's a guy I want to give a special shout out to on the Big Ten Unrivaled page. His name's James Bond. He said within the next 2 or 3 years, he's seen enough from the Wolverines basically to say that they are going to beat Ohio State in the next 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
What have we seen? What have we seen? Have you seen anything, Travis? Because I sure have.
I've seen enough for Jim Harbaugh to get fired.
I see these hires that they're making. The only one that's decent is Mike Hart. The other ones, I'm like, who? What? Who? I literally was arguing with another Wolverine fan yesterday, and he just doesn't believe they're going to get blown out next year by Ohio State. He says the tide is turning. I hope you enjoyed your time. I've heard that a lot, and I'm just like, nothing has shown that anything is going to flip. Like, we would have to come into the game asleep and not caring, which we never do. So good luck.
You have Jim Harbaugh for one more year. Nothing is going to change until you fire him, and it's probably going to be next year. Nothing is going to change, and even then,
that Wolverine fans' biggest thing for why it's going to change is the fact we're starting a new quarterback, and I'm like, hey, we've done that before. We actually develop our quarterbacks, and they're actually good. And you guys keep either getting from the transfer portal or you finally get your own quarterback and put him in, and he sucked. So
and then we got one from the transfer portal and still kicked your butt.
And he was actually like one of the greatest recruits of all time on 24/7 Sports, and he actually delivered. So it's a whole different dynamic here. The culture is that good, folks. I can't say one way or another with 100% certainty that all these colleges aren't paying players. Wolverine fans tend to think they don't. And the product would show they don't, right? Obviously, Tennessee just got caught doing that with McDonald's bags and putting money in those. Really sloppy by them. But let's just say, for the sake of the argument, they're not paying players, which I don't believe they are. The culture is that good. That's why guys want to stay. They want to fight for a national championship. Ryan Day and that staff, Urban Meyer even and that staff brought that out. And Jim Tressel, he built that culture too. He built that beating Team Up North culture and the importance on that. So the culture is really, really good, folks. And that's why people want to come back. Chris Olave, he could have been a first or second rounder, but guess what? He wants to prove that this team can win a national championship, and he wants to be a part of it before he goes pro. And I applaud him for that, because that's a hard risk to take. But when you love a school that much, and when you have a culture that's as good as Ohio State's culture, you can't pass it up. Can't pass it up. Yeah. Sorry, Team Up North. I guess maybe you should get a better culture and stop sucking at literally everything, right? That would be a start. But that was this week's Wolverine Whiffs, and I can't wait to keep doing more of those because
that was
literal gold. Literal gold every single time. They don't Wolverine fans, you do one thing well and you don't disappoint with your outrageous takes. All right, that has been the Buckeye Bro Show. Thanks for joining us. We have a new time. We go on Thursdays from 8 p.m. now instead of 8:30 to 9:30. We're a little bit over tonight, but it is what it is. We thank you for joining us. We're always on the Score on Air Network Facebook page. And thank you to our sponsors, the Theater People and Mojo Sports Gear. As always, you've seen them in the commercials that we have. We really appreciate them. Check out other shows like Travis Napper on the Perfect 10 show on the Score on Air Network Facebook page. They talk about a lot of good stuff like Buckeye football as well. Him and Ryan Hill do that. And then we got CBJ Crosscheck that's just started, and that's a really good show as well. There's a lot of good stuff on.
CBJ just went into overtime.
Right. Go Jackets. There's just a lot of good content on the Score on Air Network Facebook page, guys. So check that out if you like our show. There's a lot more to offer there as well. And yeah, that's been the Buckeye Bro Show. I'm King Buckeye Alex Bryan. Hot Wheels Travis Napper per usual. And we thank you for joining us, guys. We will see you next Thursday on the Buckeye Bro Show. Adios.
Peace out, Bro Nation.
Go Bucks.
This is the Buckeye Bro Show on Score on Air Network.